Hello, I'm Gavin Horgan, Headmaster of Millfield School in Somerset, the largest co-educational boarding school in the UK. Welcome to the Millfield Way Podcast. Here, you'll hear from teachers, coaches and students from Millfield and Millfield Prep School. Millfield is traditionally different, and this is the Millfield Way.
Hello and welcome to this Millfield Way podcast in conversation with Mia Pallas-Clark. My name's Liz Webb, and for this episode I'm joined by the head of equestrian sports at Millfield, Mia Pallas-Clark. Good morning, Mia.
Good morning, Liz. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us this morning. So let's get straight on with some questions, Mia. You started as head of equestrian sports at Millfield in March this year. What has the first 6 months been like for you?
It's been a whirlwind, I would say. It's been amazing. It's a massive living, breathing being here at Millfield, and I am having to be patient and having to learn about every different phase of the school year and what it feels like and looks like here at Millfield. Getting to know everyone, getting to know the staff that I work with in the equestrian department, as well as the broader staff over both schools, which is incredible. One of the reasons that I wanted to come here was to work with such an amazing team.
And we'd love to know a bit about you and what you were doing before Millfield. So what's been your involvement in equestrian?
Well, it's my whole life. I've been born into it. It's always what I've done. My aunt and uncle are Olympians, New Zealand riders. My aunt was a British rider. Very, very successful back in the 70s. I've grown up in the sport. It is me. Show jumping is my sport. And I've spent the last 25 plus years really working for myself in various guises in the industry. I work for British Show Jumping. I'm the Army Equestrian Show Jumping team coach currently as well, still. So I've been very, very busy in the wider industry. And when I saw what was happening here at Millfield and had the opportunity to come to apply for this role, it looked like everything I'd ever done in my career in one role. So I had to come.
And how old were you when you first got on a horse?
Oh, 6 months.
6 months?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
Yes. On a very famous horse called Field Master. That was one of my aunt's top-level show jumpers.
Wow.
Back in the day. And for the older listeners, Penwood Forge Mill was a horse ridden by Paddy McMahon, and as a baby, apparently, I was popped on the front of him at international competitions and even jumped the practice fence with me. That was before health and safety.
And you sound like you're very busy doing lots of different things. Do you have any other interests outside of school that are not horse related?
No, if I'm honest.
No.
So coming to school here in Somerset, my home and my husband are in Suffolk. So my additional interest now is actually getting home to see him occasionally. So yes, I love music, I love friends, I love good food and good wine. So
fantastic.
That can be done as well.
So in your role as head of equestrian sport, what does that involve and who do you work with on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I'm still figuring out what that involves. That involves a lot. That involves working with the horses, the riders, obviously most importantly. That involves the coaching team, which I'm a part of. That is the yard managers, those are the grooms, the amazing teams we have at both prep and senior school. That's also working with the broader school, with my boss, the director of sport, Rena, looking at strategy going forwards. It's pretty huge and really diverse.
And how much contact do you have with the pupils and the students?
I have direct contact with them. I make sure I do, and I coach as well. So I am a coach first and foremost. That's what's in my heart. So that's really important to me.
And we've had an equestrian sport programme here since day one of Millfield, if you look that far back. Tell us a bit more about the programme and the facilities for riders.
So, well, there are obviously the senior school and there's prep school. There are different facilities in each venue. Prep school is a little bit more old school, I would say. There's a lot more ground and a lot more grassland. So there's more opportunity to ride on in our cross-country field, which is, once upon a time we had a BE event, a British eventing event here, which we don't have anymore. But the remnants of that cross-country training field are there. So there's the opportunity to ride in undulating ground, as well as 2 really nice arenas at Prep. Here at Senior School, we've got the only indoor arena, I believe, in the southwest. It is an absolutely superb building. It's quite unique, actually, as well. And then a huge outdoor arena. And then, of course, we have polo over with Tim Vox at Vox Park, which is about half an hour away from here. So Tim delivers the coaching programme, which is, again, another phenomenal venue. And that was one of the original sports at Millfield.
And is horse riding still as popular as ever?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say so. We're looking at it at a different level here in terms of it's about sport and it's about performing. And these are riders that are already out doing a level, and we're here to help them improve and continue to compete successfully. At Prep, there's the opportunity to be introduced to the sport and to try it and have a go. It is one of those sports that once it is in your blood, that's it. People don't normally pick it up and put it down. It's one that you live and breathe. So it's one that takes time and dedication.
And how many students do we have horse riding, and how do we cater for those different levels of ability and disciplines?
Well, yes, that is a big jigsaw puzzle. So here at Senior School, we have around about 50 riders on our various programmes. The majority bring their own horses here to Senior School, and we have a variety of programmes for them. We also have our own horses, not so many, just half a dozen, that they can ride as well as part of a programme. At Prep School it's a little bit different. Again, we have our own horses and ponies there, where riders can come in and have lessons to learn a little bit more. But here at Senior, you need to be of a level already to step into the programme. So it looks a little bit different, and who's to say we won't optimise that in the future? That's certainly part of the plan. But the polo, again, there's an entry level there, and there's also riders that are playing at a really decent level, sometimes on their own ponies. So we do have a lot to cater for.
And do you have your own horse?
I do.
Is it here?
Is it? She is here.
She
She is here. Now, the poor mare, I'm so fortunate to have had some amazing horses in my career. Mouse, she is called, lives at Prep, actually, and it's a really, really clever way to make sure that I am in both venues every day.
Yeah.
It would be very easy to be at Senior School much more than at Prep, but because she's there, I'm guaranteed there and involved every day. So our competition programme has had to go rather on the back burner because this is all-consuming. Mm-hmm. I'm just really grateful to have her to ride at the end of every day, and it's some me time, and she is, as well as my sports partner, she's my best friend, and I'm just happy to have a hack out if that's all I've got time for.
And so how far do students bring their horses?
Incredible, really. We've got one arriving this week that's coming from Turkey, that's been travelling for 3 weeks. I mean, that's a bit of a long trip, isn't it? So we've got horses and ponies coming from Spain, Italy, yes, like I say, Turkey. Last year we had a student whose horse came from Estonia. So yeah, from all corners of Europe. Not to say they couldn't come from further afield too, but at the moment, Europe, yeah.
And do the horses stay here all year round apart from like the summer holidays?
Yes, so this is something that had been changed, and we're sort of trying to evolve it to make it a little bit smoother and easier so that horses can absolutely stay here apart from in the summer holidays, especially when they're travelling from far and wide. So again, that's just a little bit of logistics and organisation, but yes, they absolutely can, or they can go home, or they can go to, other yards that they want to go to. So totally up to the owners. It's
definitely having horses on site brings another dynamic when you've got your windows open and you can suddenly hear the horses down in the stables, or you can hear them walking around the campus,
clip-clopping
along. It's really nice that we have that. I think we have stabling for 45 horses at Millfield and then 25 at the prep school.
Yeah, that's right.
Can you tell us how many students start at prep and then transition across to Millfield?
Oh, that's a test of a question. I think I'm right in saying that this year we've had half a dozen students come across into year 9 from the prep school, and that's been really nice because just with me just starting 6 months ago, I've actually got to know them at prep and then been able to see their transition through to senior school, and they've brought their horses with them as well. It obviously depends year on year. I only have very limited experience at the moment, but what we definitely are looking at more and getting more into place is that transition becomes much easier, so the year 8 students can be here a bit more, so it's not so scary when it looks like a giant leap to senior school, so that we cross over much more between the two schools.
And so you've talked a lot about prep and you obviously also work across the prep school. Tell us about the opportunities there.
So prep's ethos is really, well, as it is across all of the school, the whole school, the idea that as a younger child that you shouldn't specialise too early, that you should try many sports. And so with the multi-sport programmes, there is the opportunity to try, if you like, riding. And the ponies that we have at prep are really brilliant for that. There's some older, rather famous ones like Mr. Cow, who are absolutely super if you want to sort of learn to ride. So there is that opportunity at prep. But there are equally riders with their own horses that are already of a really, really good level. So we have to balance that, make sure we keep it fun. And, you know, it should always be fun no matter what. And yeah, it's just to make sure that there are opportunities for everyone to, even if they're just grooming, even if they just get to interact with a horse, it's huge. We know it is. It's researched, it's proven, it's, you know, it's good for the soul. So.
And I think also some of our pre-prep children sometimes get down to the stables, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
And get to see the horses, and they love that.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans coming up for Millfield Equestrian over the next few years that you can tell us about?
I definitely do. But I'm having to learn to be patient and do one thing at a time. So there are definitely sort of more commercial plans coming through, plans for the whole school, and sports and equestrian definitely in the next 18 months, 3 years, 5 years. The broad picture is obviously just to continue to optimise the facilities. It never stands still. You always need to keep up with the industry to ensure that the coaches are, which they are, they're incredible, they're brilliantly qualified, but to make sure that the coaches are always kept up to speed with the industry and to continue to develop the programmes. I'd really like to do some more work on developing the programmes that we offer now. Nothing stays still. We have to keep moving, and I'm excited about that. So, sorry, it was a bit vague, but yes, there are plans.
There are plans. And we have a lot of OMs at Millfield that go on to do fantastic things, and whether that's something that's well known or they just go on to be very successful people. In terms of the equestrian world, are there any OMs that have gone on to do particularly notable things?
So I was fortunate enough to work with an OM before I even came anywhere near Millfield. A couple of years ago, Flo Norris was based at Ben Mayer's in Essex, and Ben commandeered me to come in and work with Flo. And little did I know that a couple of years later she would be back home here in Somerset and I would be running the equestrian facility here. So I'm working with Flo. She's done brilliantly. She's ridden on British Nations Cup teams, and now she's back in Somerset really establishing herself and running her own business. Emma Manton is a similar OM who I didn't know that well but have got to know now, being in the area. And I think they're a credit to themselves because they're young ladies that are striving really hard to make a business in our industry, which is tough. And I'm really, really happy, and it's one of my favourite roles, is to mentor. So to mentor them as coaches and business women. I'm excited I hope to work more closely with them in the future. They're both doing coaching qualifications, and I would love to bring them into school to deliver coaching as well. Wouldn't that be lovely, full circle?
Fantastic, yeah. And finally, what would be your 3 takeaways to our listeners about equestrian at Millfield? If you want them to remember 3 key things, what would that be?
I think the thing about Millfield is the fact that you've got your horse here, and I can say this firsthand because I have mine here, and it's that piece of home from home. So it's a nurturing environment, it's a home environment, full boarding, we've got your best mate here as well. So that is one thing. The second thing is that we really want whatever we do with the horses to be about being high performing. Now that doesn't mean the level that you're riding at, but it means the way you do it. So whatever you do it to the very best of your abilities. And that's what we want to support. And the third thing is, and that goes hand in hand with this, is our coaching team across all of everything we do. That our coaching team are part of that nurturing and high performing environment, and they're amazing. And they will continue to be more amazing as I support them and keep them up to date. So it's a really special place to have your horse.
So Mia, for a typical rider at Millfield, what does the week generally look like for them, and maybe half the term if you've got other things happening over a period of a few weeks?
It's a really big picture, and we have obviously school side of things to work with. That's the brilliant thing about Millfield, is the flex on the sport and the school and the pastoral side. All of the horses are fully cared for, so they're on full livery. There would be no time for riders to be mucking out their own boxes. Some ride at 7 a.m. before school, some ride at lunchtime, some ride after school. And in the sixth form, where they've got private study periods, they can opt to come out and do training in those periods as well. So with each individual rider, we make a plan, which in the first 2-3 weeks of term is really, really interesting, seeing that all come into shape, where there's lots of things to figure out. It's like a big jigsaw. We also need to look ahead to competitions, clinics that we have in-house, guest speakers, people of interest, and fit that into the week. We'll have slightly longer term goals for the school, for example. We do the NSEA competitions, which is the National Schools Equestrian Association. So they're important to the school because they're the only time that the riders get to compete as a team in a very individual sport and represent Millfield. So there are key dates on the calendar that we aim at for those. And then all the other national competitions, because we cater for show jumping, dressage, eventing. So that's how the broader term looks, the day-to-day. If you have your own horse here at Millfield, you obviously work with the team and your coaches to choose and decide when you're training and when you're riding. And that's just like you would at home. You've also got the support of the yard team to help with their exercise if you need it. If you are riding one of our school horses, then you ride at certain allocated coaching session times per week, depending on which programme you're on.
Yeah, like you said, the great thing about Millfield is everything is on the campus. Yeah. So if you're a boarder, you may be a couple of minutes walk away from the stables. Yes. So when you are trying to fit in all these different things, actually you haven't got that travel time to go places, which is what lots of people find difficult.
That is very true, yes. And we do also make sure that the riders are well fed, for example, which is really crucial. So down at the yard, if they're riding early or if they're riding over lunch, we always have their lunches and breakfast ready that they can grab and go. All of that is really crucial.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mia, for the time today, telling us all about equestrian sports at Millfield. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Millfield Way podcast in conversation with Mia Pallas-Clark. Thank you and goodbye.